I'm going to be talking a little bit about using JavaScript to buy a house, or at least to help you figure out what house to buy. My name is Benjamin. I'm the educational director at Hack Your Future, currently on paternity leave. If you haven't heard about Hack Your Future, it's a web development school for newcomers in Denmark, and we are always looking for new teachers and new mentors, or people who just want to help out with the community. So come to talk to me afterwards if you want to, or sorry, or tons of the people who are sitting down here who are former students and active students. Yes, anyway, that's not my pitch today. I like to create stuff. I like to create weird games. I like to create weird kind of creative web experiences. Choose your own adventure games. Like things where you can put in your age or your name, and you can figure out, how many days was the sun shining on your birthday, and like weird projects. So anyways, I was, on paternity leave, so we have a kid now, me and my girlfriend, and we are not obviously, but we're looking for a house. Our apartment is not like super big, so we're looking for a house. So one question that kind of kept coming to me was, how far from Copenhagen can I live with and still having a short commute into Copenhagen? Because generally the further away you live from Copenhagen, the cheaper the houses are. Not if you go north, but generally. So I was like, this is a problem that I can fix with JavaScript. And this is kind of the result. I'm gonna show it later as well. But I was like, what if I didn't want to spend tons of time figuring this out. So I was like, I'll just generate a gazillion random positions on a map. So you see, every one of these is an individual position. It has got a latitude and it has got a longitude. And I was like, so I'll just generate a lot of random positions, and then I'll figure out how far from here is it into Copenhagen. And that's in commute time. So not the distance, but how long will it take for me with public transportation to get into Copenhagen. So it's kind of a crude way, but it works. And what I kind of want to say is that if you come up with some idea, don't think that it's gonna be like super complex. I'm sure you can kind of simplify everything so it doesn't get so complex. And I'm gonna show that a little bit today. So this project has got two parts. There's a part that generates the data, and then there's a part that visualizes the data that was generated over here. So the part that generates the data, it's basically just two parts. I generate a bunch of random positions with the latitude and longitude. And then for all those positions, I just check how far is it from here into Copenhagen? How far is it from here into Copenhagen? How far is it from here into Copenhagen? I store all that in a JSON file, and then that JSON file I can read over here through a library called Kato. So on the front end part, it's just visualizing all those random positions with the commute time into Copenhagen. And then I wanted to also provide the user with some way to interact with this data. So I'm gonna go a little bit into detail with these two things. I hope you can see it. If not, it's not super important. Basically, I've created a function. It takes in number of positions, and what it returns is an array that has some objects, and they have a latitude and a longitude. So I just defined like a minimum and maximum longitude and latitude. And then for all the positions that I want, I generate a random latitude and a random longitude. So pretty basic. This get random in range is literally just, what's it called? Math.random, it's not anything fancy, So when I have this minimum and maximum latitude and minimum and maximum longitude, I'll get like a big box. I was like, that's fine enough. I don't want to go into, super complex stuff with like, I don't know, outlines of what Zealand is and what about Fyn, how can I, no, I don't want to spend time doing that. As simple as possible, right? Just generate a bunch of positions, and then later on I'll kind of check how far there is from those positions into Copenhagen. And that's what we ask Google. So basically we take all these positions, and then we ask Google for each individual position, how far is it into Copenhagen from here? How far is it from Copenhagen into here? So basically these are the two most important parts of the data generation side, you know. This is not like super complex at all. There's a bit more with writing and reading to a JSON file and kind of getting back the commute times from Google, but it's not complicated stuff. So basically what we get from this part is this JSON file, okay? There's just a ton of positions. So we've got latitude, we've got longitude, and we've got duration in seconds. This I literally drag and drop into CartoDB, and that will kind of store that data on their service. If I have time, I'll try and show you that, but if not, I can show it to you guys afterwards if someone wants to see. Okay, the front-end part is not that complicated either. I generate a map here. Again, this is using Carto kind of library. It's all very well documented. So I just, you know, copy, paste, bang it in. Oh, there's a map, cool. But I generate a map, and then I say the source that I want for this map should be the distances. So the distances is a terrible name for all of these random positions. So I say like, yeah, those are the points that I want to show to the user. And then down here is the part where I wanted the user to interact with my data. And literally what it is, I use a library called No UI Slider, which I think is really, really nice. And it just always works super well on mobile. You can get like an update function. And so you say when the user slides on the No UI slider, then I say the source here. Now I don't want to select every single distance. I just want to select the distances where the duration in seconds is less than the selected seconds from the No UI slider. So again, this is super simple stuff, right? Not super simple, but simple enough. Anyways, this is what we get from it. So, and I'll demo it in just a second, but I just think this GIF, it's so freaking cool. But it's like the commute time kind of increases and decreases down here. And then you can kind of see, you know, you can see some of the S-togs linear that goes here. And you can see there's like something going on down here with Ringsted because there's a really quick train that goes down here. So you can kind of see when Ringsted is hit, it's like it branches out like this and it looks really cool. And you can probably kind of analyze lots of things from that. I haven't gone into too much detail with that. But anyways, I want to show you some a demo of the site, because I still haven't answered the question of, you know, I wanted to find the houses where, you know, I have a short commute into Copenhagen, but the houses should still be cheap, okay? So let's have a look at the tool. So I'll start by decreasing the commute time here a little bit. And one of the things that I think is kind of cool is that me and my girlfriend didn't think about these cities, for example. So this is places like Stenløse, and it's Växjö and Ølstykke, which is actually, it's 40 minutes from Copenhagen. 40 minutes, and it's cheap out here. It's pretty cheap because everyone want to live up here, okay? Another thing that I think is really interesting is, so these were some cities where I was like, well, that's very interesting to start looking there, right? Another thing that I think is really interesting is that the S-togslinje, sorry, that goes, it kind of goes out here through Farum, and then it continues out here. See how far I can get from Copenhagen to Esbjerg in 42 minutes. I can get all the way out here, right? And see how far I can get here. It's like 3 times the distance. But there is a but, and that is that the distances the origin of Copenhagen is Hovedbanegården. And what's it called? This one, Kystbanen. Yeah, Kystbanen goes through Hovedbanegården. So if I had, for example, chose Nørreport, maybe this would look a little different. But I still think it's drastically different. So those were like some, I guess, pretty cool findings. But also cities like, for example, this here. Have any of you ever heard of like Dostrup and Viby? No? Oh, yeah. Okay, we have some people from Dostrup and Viby. So I don't want to slag it too much. But, and these are not like super expensive compared to if we go north. And they're fairly close to Copenhagen. But I want to finish off with like my singer, whatever you call it. There's a city down here. Let's see if we can find it. And we can get a bit more points. It's called Glumsø. Have anyone heard about that? Okay. The same people. Cool. Glumsø is 50 minutes from Copenhagen. I still think that's a reasonable commute. I think that's a very good commute. 50 minutes, when you get past like 1 hour, maybe 1.5 hours, that to me becomes a bit much. But of course, that varies from person to person. Anyways, 50 minutes from Copenhagen. 50. Now I'm going to show you 2 houses from Glumsø. Okay? This is one of them. I just want you to shout out, how much do you think this house is? 50 minutes from Copenhagen.
2 million?
It's really there.
When I tested this, you couldn't see it. Okay, this is 2 million kroners. Less than 5 kroners, less than 2 million. But look at this house. It's gorgeous. 50 minutes from Copenhagen, ladies and gentlemen. I have one more. This castle, straight up castle. How much do you think this is? 1.5. 1.5. Come on.
How many kids are you having?
Let's see. Okay, 1.5. It's more than 1.5, but it's 3 million kroners. But look at this place. 3 million. If you don't look at this. But it's beautiful. 50 minutes from Copenhagen. Yes, so that was my demo of the project. What? Not yet, no. No, my girlfriend lives in Hillerød. Works in Hillerød. So we'll have to find something a bit more north. But so what did I learn from this project? Of course, I learned all the things about housing, and one thing that I'm gonna do, that I'm working on right now, is taking the actual listings into the project and then kind of giving it a combined score of distance to Copenhagen and how expensive it is. So I hope that I can get clusters of, here's a city like Glumsø that is relatively close to Copenhagen, but it's also pretty cheap. I'm working on that now, not quite done with it yet. So what did I learn from this? Carto is an absolute pleasure to work with. If you haven't used it, I can strongly recommend it. It's so nice. Code Sandbox is an absolute pleasure to prototype in. You just spin up a node server, and if you want React with it, they have really nice templates. Everything is set up, so you can just in 2 seconds, you can start your project of generating these random positions or whatever you want to do. And then the last thing is that Google pricing is an absolute nightmare to figure out, and I still haven't really figured out how expensive this is. They give you lots of credits, and it's all kind of a bit blurry, but yes. So that was my talk. Thank you so much.